All right. I'm gonna try this OBS shit to record my like tactics videos. I guess let's just get started. So here we have what I think Xabi Alonso wants to do with this side. There's a couple main problems. So one of them is personnel. That's the biggest issue. Personnel. I would say the second one is commitment. And then the third issue is depth. This is like off the dome and everything. I'll make a better video like later. But this is how I imagine Alonso would want to line up next season. It's a hybrid formation. So on paper, obviously, you have that 4-3-1-2. This extra midfielder right here in Goulet in this situation, it essentially allows Vinicius and Mbappe a bit more leeway on the press. Let's start with, what they need to do. Now, Alonso isn't looking for like a full commitment to the press like PSG have, even Barca have, Liverpool, they have like a committed press like that. Because when you think about a press, you do that because you know that when you're on the ball, you don't have the quality of players, and that's like you have to take it with like a grain of salt. Obviously, your players are quality if you're at the level of like PSG, at the level of like a Liverpool and all that. But if you're comparing like Vinicius Junior to Ousmane Dembele, who's the better player? Mbappe to Desiree Doué to Kvaratskhelia, who's the better player? Bellingham to Vitinha, João Neves. Yeah, they had better seasons, but who's the better player? This system kind of allows us to have Mbappe, have Vinicius engage in the press, but what they all they need to do is really just set the tone. Like, pick a defender. Vinicius press the left center back, and press the goalkeeper. Mbappe press the right back, press the right center back. That's it. Set the tone, and then you have a solid base in midfield to kind of cover for that. Second issue is personnel. We know Alonso wants to play more of like, if you move him up, he wants to play a 3-back. So we'll move Tchouaméni down in this situation. And it's kind of like this in possession. So you have that like 3-4-1-2, on the ball. Alonso tried this in preseason, or sorry, not preseason, in the Club World Cup, and let's just say Carreras over here will put Fran Garcia instead. The issue with Fran Garcia is he was in this position, and then you have this midfield. You want to push Valverde up. I don't know why that happened. You have Valverde here, Goulet here, and then you kind of had Trent as like the free man. So it's like a 3-2-2-3. You can even, I would say, put Goulet here. They're operating in the pockets. And you have Valverde out here. Put Trent right there, inverted. So a lot in the Al Hilal game, you'll see setups like this, where Trent was pushed inside and you have this back line and you're building up in a 3-2-2-3. This is, a good formation. Obviously over here, it wasn't Mbappe. It was, I guess you can put Gonzalo, Garcia, and boom. It was like this in those games. The issue with this is, what's it called? Fran Garcia, he was the press trigger for the other opposition. He's not good on the ball. His strong suits are bombing up and down the width, touching, holding the width, holding the opposition, keeping them honest on this left-hand side. He's not really good at building, building the play up. And we saw it when like you have Goulet over here, say. Goulet played the ball into Garcia and the press would trigger. My like mouse is like, players coming in. Xabi Alonso solved this by putting Dean House in here. You move Tchouaméni to the middle. And then now you have something more like this. Put Vinicius there. Now you have a setup like this with Garcia. He's allowed the width now because Hoyson's the cover. He is the main guy that's building up the possession for us, building up for us. And then in possession, that allowed Tchouaméni to kind of play as that libero. And then Rudiger has played in a back three at Chelsea before. He's very well suited to this kind of space, which allowed Trent the coverage to go up and down and then come inside. And then you have Valverde and him exchanging. This is a great system we have with these three right here. What I would prefer is, what we'll get into that, but this rotation, this cover of like Rudiger here, you have Tchouaméni here, and Valverde and Trent can kind of alternate. Maybe Trent can tuck in and Valverde can hold that width, or vice versa. So this allowed that. And then to support, you'd have Vinicius coming out wide to give Garcia that easy option, But now, what did this do? It isolated Goulet. Bellingham had to move up, and now you have this major gap in the middle. So if possession is lost, they can easily slice through. Goulet's not good off the ball. Tchouaméni is isolated over here. That's the bad thing. Obviously Tchouaméni is a great player. He's a pillar in the team, but he's isolated in this position. You put any player isolated over here, other than I'd say maybe like Van Dijk, you're gonna lose. You're gonna lose that 9 times out of 10, and that's kind of, we saw that with the goals that we conceded in the Club World Cup. So now, let's switch back to something like this. Oh, sorry. Going into something like this now. Let's put House in there, Trent there. Now you have system like this. Just move him up. Boom. You have this 3-back or 5-back hybrid. You have these 2 midfielders. It's set up like this. This is how I would want Real Madrid to set up. So back to the 4-3-1-2. You have Trent on this side. Carreras, why I'm super excited for Carreras now is Xabi Alonso wants to build in that back 3. We know that. He's going to be allowed to do so because Carreras is so much better on the ball. He can tuck in over here. See, and you can have Housen move in the middle. And then you have Rudiger there. And boom, now you can build up kind of like this. You can push him up. Trent is given more leeway. You can build up in like a 3-2-3-2. This works so much better because Carreras can bomb up the pitch here. He's great on the ball. He can tuck in. He can build up, combine with Housen. It gives Housen more leeway to lead the actual back line, which I think is his evolution as a player. I think as he grows, he'll move away from this kind of left space and like pushing up because he's so good at this already. What he needs to get better at is commanding the back line, and I think he can do that over here. And then over here, instead of Rudiger, you can have Militao, And now you have a player that's even better on the ball, just as good as recovery speed and all that with Rudiger. His only concern is his injuries, but he's a player that you trust so much more on the ball and everything, So this back line works so much better. And then you can also build up in a 4-4-2. You can have Carreras bomb up over here. You can have Trent maybe tuck in. You have Tchouaméni in the center, and you have Valverde move up. And then you have Trent tuck in. This works so well too, because now you have Housen, who's great at build-up, great on the ball. Militao, great on build-up, great on the ball. Carreras can hug this with. Maybe Tchouaméni and Trent can tuck in. Valverde, we know Valverde can play like anywhere, but we want him more like in this space. We want him in the middle with the leeway to go out. And let's put Mbappe over here. This allows Mbappe to also come to this side of the pitch, do what he needs to do, build up. Maybe Vinicius and Mbappe can swap, and Vinicius can come here, or Mbappe can come here. Say they're both on this side, gives free reign to Arda to come over here. Maybe Bellingham to then make those box runs and be that box person, and then Valverde here. And we know Trent is good at that width. Trent can hold that right side, just like Carvajal did in the 2016-17 season. This would be Ronaldo. This would be Benzema. This would be Isco. This would be, This would be Benzema, this would be Ronaldo, and then this would be Isco. They're kind of rotating more left favorite, and then Carvajal would hold this with Modric would come over here and support. But this setup works so well as well. But now let's think about off the ball, because that's a big concern as well. Go back to this. This is where Camavinga comes in play. I think Camavinga should be a starter in this side. I think this is how Real Madrid should aim to line up. It gives the leeway to the front too. You have somebody that's so good at ball recovery. What the hell? He can be that player right there, that trigger, you know? And then you can have a build-up kind of like this. That 2-1-4-3 build up. Even Carreras can tuck in over here. Housen can move up. Maybe Carreras can stay back. And you have maybe Tchouaméni come down. You know, this works so well too. You have Camavinga maybe come down and be that pivot, slightly higher, that double pivot. This is such a good system. The main concern is obviously, you know, the injuries. Maybe you build up like this. It's so much flexibility. That's kind of what Xabi Alonso wants to do with this side. He wants them to be flexible. You saw it in the Juventus game, Salzburg game, all the, you know, Al Hilal game. Like, it's changes on the fly, changes in the lineup, you know, in game to manage. So this is how I think Real Madrid will, you know, succeed next season. But it needs that little bit of commitment from Mbappe and Vini. I'm not saying you got to press like Dembele. They don't need to. We're gonna be great on the ball. We're gonna dominate the possession in majority of games. But you need to be committed to this sort of system. You know, Camavinga is a great press trigger. We know Bellingham presses. We know Valverde presses. They can come up. When they come up and press the back line, it allows Trent to kind of come back over here. It gives the leeway to him, you know, to not get bombed over the top. And we know Militao is great at those recovery runs. Say they do play a long ball and Trent gets caught out. You have Tchouaméni that'll come down here in the center and cover. Militao here. Camavinga is more than capable of holding the middle, you know, winning possession. This is in transition. Carreras comes back, and now you have this sort of back line. And in his early Porto days, Militao is actually a right back. So we know that he can cover this right-handed space in the defense. You have great coverage. And then obviously Valverde comes back. You know, Bellingham comes back. And then you're back in this sort of, you know, 4-4-2 setup off the ball. This is what works, you know, right here. Boom. 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 Put him there. You can kind of build up like this off the ball. Off the ball, actually, not even this. It would be this. A 5 at the back. And then you'd have Bellingham here in the middle. Vinicius out here. And a 5-4-1 mid block. This is the best way to combat, what's it called? Modern day attacks and modern day tactics. You have coverage in the half space. This is the spaces that, you know, teams want to exploit, and you have more than good enough coverage over there. This is how it would be. So yeah, I think that's it's good. This is good. Good if Real Madrid can set up like this. This is where obviously the new center back could be huge. If we can get like a Konate, it frees up Tchouaméni to be more in the middle. Like if you have something like this is even better. So yeah, that's kind of why a center back is so important, more so than a midfielder, because I don't think there's any midfielders on the market that are of quality or you know, available. But yeah, Konate definitely will help this side a lot. So yeah, I think I'll wrap it up there. Just like a draft video. First time I'm actually doing this type of shit. Next one will be a lot more structured.